Last year in 2022, the Aprilia Tuareg 660 was launched, and back then I did an episode on this bike in Cape Town, riding it off the beaten track, sand roads, beach sand roads, highways, all over the place, exploring Cape Town. And I really enjoyed my time on this bike. However, having come up to Johannesburg and back into the real world, day-to-day life, I realized this is an even better bike than I first thought. And the reason I say that is because if you have the problem of a space problem in your garage, or you don't have the funds to buy 3 or 4 motorcycles, this Tuareg could be your answer. Because if you're looking for an adventure bike, a touring bike, a off-road bike, or a day-to-day commuter, the Tuareg ticks all those boxes. To recap on the Aprilia Tuareg 660, the design brief, I'm sure, was all about from track to dirt, less weight equals more fun. And you get best in class technology, you get lightweight, you get intelligent, and you get effective. And what I mean with that is you get the famous Aprilia frame. Famous because Aprilia has 54 world titles. They really do know how to build a chassis and a frame. With that, you get off-road suspension, front and rear 240mm travel. And mounted inside that, you get a motor based off the RS660 platform. And that motor already got its first triumph in its maiden year in America with twin motors. Now, a little bit of history about that motor. The RS660 motor started off as the 2 front piston on the RS V4. And in the RS660, guys, it produced 100 horsepower at 10,000 RPM. Now for this off-road adventure bike, you want something different. You want more torque, more rideability. And how Aprilia achieved that, they took the base RS660 motor, changed the cams to give you a flatter and wider torque curve. And now you get 80 horsepower at lower RPMs, 9,250. And you get 70 Newton meters at fairly low RPMs. And more about that, you get the Aprilia Intelligence, the APRC Intelligence and rider modes. So as you can see here, it is a bike that is all about lightweight and minimalistic if you look at the covers and the plastics used on it. Now going through the specs on this motor, as mentioned earlier, launched first last year in 2022. The engine is a Euro 5 compliant 4-stroke forward-facing parallel twin double overhead cam, 4 valves per cylinder, and it's 659cc, hence the 660, and it's liquid cooled. If you look here, tucked in behind these covers is your radiator, your dual header pipe, 2-in-1, and this little cover looks part of the bash plate, and it actually hides the cat. The motor puts out 79 horsepower on this bike, which is 59 kilowatts at 9,250 RPM. Torque, 70 Newton meters at 6,500 RPM. This motor goes through a wet multi-plate slipper clutch, 6-speed gearbox final drive chain, and you can see the longer swing arm for the off-road adventure riding. The front wheel, as per the adventure bike, 21-inch, rear wheel 18-inch. Suspension, as mentioned earlier, 240mm travel front and rear. Front is a 43mm upside down fork. The rear is a monoshock hidden over here. The brakes, dual brakes up front with ABS, Brembo calipers. At the back, single disc, ABS, with your Brembo brakes as well. Seat height, fairly tall bike at 860 millimeters. Tank capacity 18 liters, which gives you really nice range for a 660 middle class, middleweight motor. The stunning part here is the 187 kilogram dry weight. Very light bike, nimble, and that's why so suitable for adventure and off-road riding. The three color options that are available, I'm fortunate today that IMI had all three bikes here. You have the acid gold in the black and the Martian red with the black, and the one at the back here is the indigo Tagelmoosed, and the main difference is the lighter weight wheels and the different color scheme on that bike. All three really stunning, and I love how bold Aprilia is with their colors. Now when it comes to electronics, this is best in class, I think, as well. You have the Aprilia APRC, Aprilia Performance Ride Control, which gives you the ability to change your engine map, your engine brake. You also have 4 rider modes: urban, explore, off-road, individual. You have traction control, you have cruise control, everything you want. If I go to the front, your LED lighting on this bike, front, rear indicators, and I love the way they retain this RS660 look, also the new facelift RSV4, and it is this furrowed eyebrow look. Really stunning look overall. Indicators, as you can see, stunning. I think enough talking about this bike, and let's get on and ride this bike. And I want to show you that in a previous episode I showed you that off-road adventure riding, off the beaten track, this bike is so suitable for that. I had so much fun. Now today I'm going to take you out and take you in traffic, peak hour traffic, and show you how suitable this bike is. It is extremely slim. If you have a look here, and you have the wide handlebars, you got good control, its center of gravity is low enough, and it is a fairly light bike. It's a combination of an off-road plastics bike and a really light entry adventure bike, which makes it so suitable for commuting as well. So let me stop waffling here and jump right on and go for that ride. In Cape Town I rode the acid gold, and today here I'm on the Martian red. I cannot tell you which is my favorite. All I can tell you is that this bike is super comfortable. I am sitting upright. There is no strain in any way on my lower back, arms, or anything. The bike is light, feels light. It is nimble, it changes direction very quickly, and I think that is in part to that massive 21-inch front wheel. The only thing that you could have challenges with if you have short legs, because it is a fairly tall bike at seat height of 860 millimeters. Traffic lights out here in South Africa, common. Keep the balance on this bike is simple, so you can slow down, and it just has a really good vibe and feel about it. This whole bike, really, it cruises nicely. And what I want to show you in this ride, in this episode today, is just how practical this bike is. It is a weekday, and driving it in peak hours to and from work, really practical as a day-to-day commuter. And as I've shown you with the previous episode on the Tuareg, where I took it off the beaten track in Cape Town, you can see this bike is practical on dirt roads, even roads that have soft beach sand where you think you're going to get stuck. You can change your traction control, you can change your rider modes, you can really change the whole dynamics and feel of this bike for the different conditions. The bike is practical, it is nimble, it is light. So when I started feel like I'm losing balance on the bike and I put my leg out, I know I don't have a 250 kilogram adventure bike under me, so it felt good. It's confidence inspiring, and that's where on the off-road side of things, off the beaten track, you got a bike that is completely manageable, that is not scary when it comes to weight or intimidating. It's also not intimidating when it comes to the power curve. It is a really fun motor. Here you go, roll on. You get up to legal limits in a hurry. and all round it's comfortable. You let go of the handlebar, this bike tracks true. I'm sitting upright, so there's no movement from my back. My arms are bent. The controls, they feel great, just like the RS660. You got your cruise control here if you're on the open road. You can just roll on in top gear, and she hops, goes to illegal speeds in a hurry. It's just a bike that feels great. Today is overcast and it is a bit windy, and the screen, it looks tiny, but actually I'm not uncomfortable. I don't have big pressure at these speeds against my chest, so that I'm getting pressure on the forearms, holding my upper body forward. That screen, as small as it is, it's really effective. I think it would be a problem should it start raining or drizzling, but for day-to-day commuting and riding, this is ample. This is brilliant. It's comfortable. Top gear if I roll on, it's got stonk, but it's not going to throw me off the back of the bike. It is very, very slim. If I look down here, you can see the bike is slim. My legs hug it nicely. The screen TFT is big enough. I don't have to lean forward and read into it to change the modes. Simple. Everything about this bike is really practical. You don't have to study a PhD or pull out the owner's manual all the time to ride. And therefore I say, as an everyday bike, as a commuter, extremely, extremely practical. If we're doing open roads like this, for example, if you're touring, you flick this lever over to the left, hold it there, your light comes on, and then you just lock it in place, and I let go of the handlebars. Yeah, no hands. I don't promote this. You're not supposed to. This is just to show the effectiveness. So if you're riding for hours on end, I'm extremely comfortable on this bike. Sitting upright, you can see my arms. I don't have to lean forward to grab the controls. Bike is true track straight. It is fairly windy today. It's not affecting me, and it's just all around. You can ride for hours. You don't have strain on your wrists. If I want to, just I can roll on the throttle and it accelerates, no problem. If I let go, it comes back to my locked speed and I can go again. So for touring, here you go. You strap on a couple of saddlebags on the side, or put a roll on the back of the seat. As you can see, that bench style seat, very long, plenty space on it. As you can see, I'm still in low hands mode, cruise control, fantastic. So if you're cruising far away, you've got proper space on the back of that bench seat. You have ample space to put pannier bags on the side to go touring. Comfortable, you've got cruise control. It has enough power to stay with traffic, get you out of trouble, overtake. The suspension is not soggy in any way. It is firm, but you can change it obviously if you want, but as it's set standard, I am extremely comfortable. It soaks up these bumps. I can choose these bumps here. It really not an issue. It's not going to hurt my lower spine. It's nimble. I can throw it around with confidence. Here up front, want to show you how practical this bike is when it comes to commuting and traffic. There's roadworks ahead, plenty traffic. Now if you're in a car and you're standing in queues, very annoying. And this is what I'm speaking about, a day-to-day commuter that is light, nimble, you can flick around. It's very narrow waist. The widest part on this bike is the handlebars, and that's a really practical thing because at slow speeds you've got good control, good maneuverability on this bike. With its lightweight, even at slower speed, big 21-inch wheel in front. I love the feel of this bike and the control of the bike. You can see rolling on, rolling off. The brakes, by the way, Brembo's, not top of the range when it comes to Brembo's, but Brembo's nevertheless an ample for this capacity motorcycle with these speeds. We're not talking about a super bike here that'll hit 300, so you don't need those kind of stoppers, but you still have Brembos. So that's what I love about the Italians. They don't save. They put their money where their mouth is and produce a proper motorcycle with all the niceties as well as safety features. And brakes is more important than horsepower, actually. Here you can see in this traffic you can weave in and out, which, by the way, lane splitting in South Africa is totally legal. I know in some countries it's not legal. However, that's the beauty of biking in South Africa. And I think one of the things I cannot really bring across or stress enough is how comfortable the seating position is. Ergonomically, this bike is just so well. It's as if they designed it for someone of 6 foot height, because where my feet are in relation, it's mid mount. It's not under my bum, it's mid to forward. I can move my feet forward and back. With this bench style seat, I can move right to the front to the tank, like weight to the front wheel, motocross style, should I want to play in the sand a bit. Yet if I want to move the pressure point when I'm touring, there's so much space. I can move right back on the seat. I can move right back over here, give myself a lot of space. I can move all the way to the front. There's a lot of space, and it also then changes the position of your feet in relation to where your knees are and your thighs are. The other thing is your thighs slant downhill, and that makes it more comfortable as well. If your thighs are parallel to the road, it gets more uncomfortable over long journeys. But here on the bike, it is a tall bike, as mentioned. I am both feet tiptoes, but when you're riding, and that's what it's about, when you're touring, when you're going longer distances, are you comfortable? Are you getting pins and needles? And in this seated position, you're not getting that. And have a look at this. Traffic has virtually come to a standstill, yet I'm still moving through it at a steady pace of 40 kilometers an hour and above. It's safety's sake, I could do it faster, but why? What's the rush? Enjoy the ride. And this bike, as I said, nimble. The headlights, thank you very much. Cars move out the way. Yeah, as you can see, it must be a bit of an imposing sight because it is tall, so the lights really shine through the back window onto the rearview mirror inside the car. It's not a low bike where the lights are obscured. There's space here squeezing through. On the camera it might look like I'm taking chances, but I've been doing this for many years, so I have the confidence. And with a bike like this, again, it's not my bike, I don't own one of these Tuaregs, but when you swing your leg over it, you are comfortable very quickly. After the first 5-10 kilometers, you really become one with this bike, feel at ease with it, and it just flows, everything flows. Now I'm back on the open road again. I can open it up, and like I showed you in Cape Town, on sand roads, on really deep soft sand like beach sand, this bike performed. On highways, this bike performs. In twisties, fantastic, the mountain passes in Cape Town. So, and this is what this is all about. Is I wanted to share with you, when you find a bike that is this practical, because some bikes, the big adventure bikes, of which I have one, they really sometimes, when you go through tough, tight traffic like I just did, it's a little bit too wide, and you really have to wobble around a little bit, sometimes stop, put your leg out, sometimes you got to look at your crash bars, have you got enough space, and then you stop behind the cars, wait for them to part ways, give you some space. With this bike, as I mentioned in the previous video, riding like this, it's so light and nimble, it hides its weight, that you actually feel like you're on 120 kilogram plastics bikes, like an MX bike. That's the feeling I get in front. and it is just a stunning looking bike. It doesn't have the plastics beak like some of the off-road bikes or some of the adventure bikes. It has the traditional front mudguard. It looks great. It retains the furrowed eyebrows, so instantly recognizable as part of the Aprilia family. The new facelift RSV4's got it, the RS660's got it, and they cleverly kept that theme going, so anyone who knows Aprilia will recognize these lights. Furrowed eyebrow, as they call it. This bike's nimble. It loves the corners. Absolutely loves the corners. My riding style might look a bit crazy to you, but it's all about showing you how competent and sure-footed this bike is. If I can do these insane things on this bike and feel at ease, feel at home, how comfortable can you be on a bike like this? And this is where I say again, if you look at the previous episode, I was going off-road and deep soft beach sand, and here I'm traveling on a highway, traffic. I'm going to look for more traffic, and this afternoon on the way home I'm going to look for more traffic again, just to show you the practicality. One bike in the garage, you have a daily commute that you can move around in the garage. It's light enough, you move in and out the way, you don't have a space problem. Then every day, rain, hail, sunshine, you ride this bike every day. You let it get dirty like an off-roader. On the weekend you clean it up, put saddlebags on, and you go away for the weekend because you're comfortable. You ride for hours. The bench seat is long enough. You put the missus on the back, there's space for her too. You put some bags on the back and off you go. Then you want to do some off-road with the boys, misbehave a little bit, one bike. And that's the beauty of this bike. If you have a space problem or you're not blessed enough to finance 3 motorcycles, you have a stunning bike. It's not just limited to one thing. For example, a super bike is a very focused, dedicated machine. You can't really tour with it, but it is still awesome. I mean, I love super bikes. In this bike you don't have a super bike, but I think it ticks the boxes when it comes to adventure bike. It's a small capacity adventure bike, but it's an adventure bike nevertheless. It is a tourer. You can tour with it for hours. You're super comfortable. You've got cruise control. Off-road, yes, slightly heavier than a plastics bike, but it's competent, extremely competent. 240mm travel front and rear suspension, and you have the rider aids where you can change the traction control. And as I proved on dirt roads and off-road, heaps of fun. And then as a daily commuter, as you can see, it is just such a pleasure to ride. I'm on the way home now, and I'm going to show you really bad traffic. I'm going to show you how nimble this motorcycle is and how easy it is to navigate really bad traffic. Have a look at the standing traffic up ahead. And when I say this bike is really practical as a daily commuter, have a look at this. And as I mentioned before, lane splitting is totally legal in this country, and we all do it, and I've been doing it for many years. So please don't do what I do if you're not up to it, and if you're not allowed to do it in your country. But I'm just showing you the versatility of this bike. As you can see, this bike is a charm through this traffic. I'm sitting high up, I'm sitting very upright, wide handlebars, there's no pressure on my body, I'm very relaxed with my hands, very relaxed on these handlebars. Bike is extremely light, very nimble, and I'm in a good neutral position. Feet are relaxed, mid-mount right now the way I'm sitting, a little bit back, and I'm quite relaxed. It's not white knuckle riding, and the bike being as slim and light as it is, I can flick it left to right, I can weave a little bit. The whole body of this bike is really slim, so the only thing I really have to worry about is these handlebars. Being wide helps control at slower speeds, and as you can see, I can tap it really down. I'm down to under 20 kilometers per hour, but the bike is balanced, extremely well balanced, good control. I'm down to under 10 kilometers an hour, both feet on the peg still, and it's just a charm. This is fantastic. I love it. And that's why also it's really good on off-road in sandy conditions. It's not top heavy, it's not a monster you're muscling around. It tracks beautifully, it's slim. Have a look, this traffic, very busy. We're talking about 5 lanes here. You ride without any pressure. Relax your wrists, relax your forearms, and have a look at this. Fantastic. With the rear brakes are very good. They are strong. It doesn't have an instant bite point, but is fairly sharp, and you have a little bit of dive having that amount of travel, but progressive as well. So the instant bite point is there, but it's not over the top, and after that it's very progressive. You can feed it, and with these Brembo stoppers, a bike of this weight, ample. Confidence inspiring. When I speak about the controls, because your hands are in such a neutral position, your elbows are slightly below your wrists here, hanging down, very relaxed. The controls actually at first glance look a bit bulky, but it's really nice, because even with these big gloves on that I have, I get to all these controls comfortably. I don't miss a button, and just overall great feel. You can feel when everything's engaging. The gear lever, it clicks in very positively. Neutral is not too difficult to find. Handling around the twist, rolling on. So I'm sure you could see I got through that traffic with ease, no sweat at all. At no point in time did I even take any one of my feet off the footrests. I was comfortable, I was content. My lowest speed was about 6 kilometers an hour I saw on the speedo. I was still not weaving around. I was stable, straight, both feet on the foot pegs. The bike is well balanced. So as a daily commuter, being as light, nimble, slim as it is, your seating position, I always say for a commuter, you want to sit upright, have nice wide handlebars, and have something slim. This bike is fantastic and suitable. And if you get a big adventure bike with these big motors, yes, they're fantastic, they have everything, they're wonderful. However, you can't commute with them daily. It is a bit cumbersome. If you were to go through the traffic I just went through, it really is difficult. I know, because I have one. I have a really big adventure bike, and you guys know which bike it is. So it's not that practical as a daily commute. I used to commute on my old 2003 Ducati Multistrada 1000 DS, and that's very much in this bike's guise. I mean, that bike, it was 1000cc, this being a 660. It had 92 horsepower because it's 2 decades older technology. 92 horsepower. This bike has 80 horsepower, 79 horsepower, nearly there. This bike is 2 kilograms lighter. That bike also had the Ducati air-cooled twin motor. I love that bike, and I've been to every province in the country. It did everything adventure touring with me. It did 132,000 kilometers and more when I retired her. And this bike is very much like that. A commuter that I could do 100,000 kilometers on it, one hand through the bend, no problem. I'm so comfortable, so confident on this bike, it's crazy. And then at the same time, it can run seriously illegal speeds. I'm sure you can appreciate with me the practicality and versatility of this motorcycle. It really is an all-rounder. And then besides that, the sheer good looks of it, the individuality of it when it comes to mid-sized engine, this kind of category, really the looks individual, the colors bold by Aprilia. all round a stunning motorcycle. I hope you guys enjoyed this ride review, and I'm sure you agree with me on this practicality, versatility of the stunning Tuareg 660. Guys, if you enjoyed this episode, please remember, hit that like button, give me a thumbs up, and most important of all, please guys, hit that subscribe button to help me build the channel, and if you like, the reminder bell so you always know when I'm uploading new content.